All right, now joining the show, we have on Connecticut native, Penn State graduate, and Kentucky quarterback Will Levis. Will, how are you, man?
Doing well, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you coming on. So you've been down in Kentucky, it seems like for what, a couple months now since you transferred. How's it been down there? Big change for you?
Yeah, I've been here a few months, and honestly, not too much of a change. I didn't really know what to expect because I never really been here that extensively beforehand. But really just been playing football, and I mean, football is football. So what's expected of me with training and just studying and all of that for football, it hasn't really changed much. But the landscape of the town and just how the school is set up is a little different from Penn State, but it's not too drastic. But I've been able to settle in here and get pretty comfortable.
What's been the biggest change for you, like outside of football, kind of just being out of state college and then being out of Connecticut too, just in a whole different area for you?
I mean, Lexington is a city. It's not a huge city, but you do have that kind of downtown area that's separate from the school. That whereas like State College, PA, it's like if students are on campus, the town's kind of dead. So you do have that going on, and then other than that, not much really. I mean, people got the southern accent a little bit, so you gotta get to the southern draw a little bit, which is kind of funny and take some getting used to. But been saying y'all a lot more. So one thing that's changed in my dialogue, but other than that, not much.
So, and then football wise, have you been able to kind of, how is the team kind of taking you in during workouts, during when you and the receivers work out outside of the actual team stuff? How has that kind of been with the new team? Because I got to imagine transferring out, especially as a graduate, must be a little bit tougher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. I mean, walking into a situation where you're now having to meet 110 plus brand new names and faces. So, I mean, I still don't know everyone on the staff and team's name if I saw them in person. I mean, I only work out with the receivers, tight ends, and running backs and other quarterbacks on our daily basis. So don't get a chance to really connect with workouts with like the defense or the offensive line and stuff like that. But I try my best just to be out there and getting in extra work and socializing with all these people and trying to get to know them as much as possible and just be a leader in whatever way I can with them. And they've been very receptive of me, and I can't thank them enough for that. And just going out there and working hard and trying to show that I can be and should be their starting quarterback. So it's been a challenge, but it's been a good one, and it's been an opportunity for me to kind of show myself and show others what kind of leader I am and how I can help the program.
Now, physically, you're probably feeling good being down there with workouts. Mentally, how are you preparing yourself to play in what really is the best conference in football? I mean, the Big Ten's good, like Ohio State's good, Michigan's good, Indiana, Penn State, but now you're going in where just about every team has 5-star recruits on the team. They've got guys that are big-time grad transfers. So mentally, how have you kind of prepared yourself to go into a game versus like an Alabama or a South Carolina or an Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes from a preparation standpoint. I mean, I think one of my quotes that I live by is the battle is won before it even starts.
Mm-hmm.
And that just goes to show how important preparation is. And if you're prepared, then you should be confident with what's to come. So a lot of that's been for me. I'm not taking classes this summer since I graduated. I don't start my grad program till the fall. So
Okay.
I'm able to get a lot more film study in and just getting to know this new offense and becoming a lot more comfortable with it. Try to challenge myself to watch like 2 hours of film a day, which is something that I didn't come close to ever before. So I don't have an excuse to not do that now. And it's just something that if I want to get to the level that I want to get at, it's something that it's only going to help me get there. So just trying to learn the offense as much as possible, getting comfortable with the offense, getting comfortable with the type of defenses I'm going to be looking at. And then at the same time, just doing the physical things necessary to get my body ready for the game. So obviously, once we get to like game planning for specific games, that's when it becomes even more important, just with preparing for specific personnel and specific looks that you're going to get per team per game. Because I mean, we're not preparing right now for the LSU game. I'm not looking at LSU right now. It's like
Right.
week by week basis. I'm kind of just learning the fundamentals of the offense. And then when that time comes, you have to know how to approach that week and that time to prepare for that game as efficiently as possible.
Now, the watching the film, making sure you're doing 2 hours a week, was that like your goal coming into camp, like to knowing that you're not taking classes, that you just want to learn the playbook, or is that more of the coaches putting that on you to watch that much film, or is it a mix of both?
It's 2 hours a day. And it was something that I just kind of put on myself. Actually, we had a guest speaker come into the team, Nittany Lions, who was a former receiver for Kentucky football, and he had some really inspirational things to say. And I pulled him aside afterwards and just thanked him for coming to talk to us, asked him some questions, and he asked me how much film I watched, and I said about an hour a day. And he's actually the one who challenged me to do that 2 hours a day. And so I keep up with him. I text him. Obviously, there are some days that maybe I have too much going on where it's not possible. There's been a few of those for sure, but he's been someone who's really kept me accountable and someone who I talk to every day, just that I let them know when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's definitely been there with me across every step of the way and help push me to keep that goal.
Nice, nice. So you're a Connecticut guy. So did you grow up in Madison and go to Xavier?
Yeah, I grew up, or I guess I lived in Massachusetts till I was like 7, and then I moved to Madison and went to school in middle school, all that, elementary school, middle school there, and then went to Xavier for my whole high school career.
Now with high school football in Connecticut, the powerhouse is like Hand is a pretty powerful program in the state. Was your decision going to Xavier, was that an academic choice or is it more of football related? Like, how did you kind of look at that going to Xavier instead of going to Hand?
It was a bunch of different options. I mean, or factors. I mean, I was going to look at a few different options. What I wanted to do high school wise, whether it was maybe even like boarding school. Obviously, Hand right in my backyard.
Yep.
Good football, all that. But just when I was visiting schools, I just felt the most comfortable at Xavier, and I felt like it was just somewhere where I could thrive and both athletically and academically. And just it kind of went from there. My parents were big on helping me in the decision process as well. And it was just a feel thing for me. And obviously it worked out. I'm in a great position now, and I have Xavier for Xavier's a lot to thank for that. And I mean, I don't know if I'm sure that I could have been in a similar situation playing somewhere else, but I just know that it worked out with where I did end up. So yeah.
Now, I heard when you were on the finance podcast, you had mentioned that your recruitment kind of heated up a little bit later on. How did that maybe affect you? And did you ever consider like maybe your senior season after that taking a prep year at a place like a Cheshire Academy, a Choate? Or did you kind of figure I have my offers now going into my senior year or whatever ones I pick up, I'll find a place once that time comes?
My offers did come a little late, but I do think that they came early enough to where I didn't need to do that. Like if I didn't get those Power 5 offers going into my senior year, I think the prep year could have been an option for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I committed to Penn State the summer before my senior year.
Okay.
So I was in a good situation. And but even then, that committing the summer before your junior year, that's considered late, especially later at least for a quarterback, especially in Division I football. So that's what I meant by being a little late. But I think that the prep option is definitely the right move for a lot of kids. But I was just lucky enough where my recruiting was able to pick up soon enough where that didn't need to become an option for me.
Now, I'm a big fan of like recruiting, like watching, especially Connecticut guys, seeing where they end up. Did you ever have, I always call them like recruiting horror stories, whether you don't want to name the school or coach or whatnot, but just a time where a coach maybe big timed you or they pressured you into committing way too early in the process? Did that ever happen to you?
I think, I don't know if this counts, but I mean, I'll say it. I don't really care, but being from Connecticut, I was kind of puzzled in my recruiting process why UConn didn't pursue me as much as they did.
It's weird.
I'll kind of hold back on it just because they were in the middle of like a coaching staff change and like they were trying to figure out things that way. But it just kind of was kind of a punch in the face to me where I was getting offers from schools like Florida State, UNC, Ole Miss, and I still hadn't gotten an offer from my home state of UConn. And so, I mean, they did offer me eventually. And I think the way that they went about the offer was definitely the right way to do it, with bringing me in and having me visit and meeting with the coaches and all that. But definitely would have helped my recruiting process get kick-started a little earlier if they were to have offered me a little earlier. But that's just something that I never got, and it didn't really sit right with me. But I'm not one to judge or like say anything, because they did have some things going on with the coaching staff there with the changeover. But that always just has puzzled me to this day.
It's weird the way, especially when Diaco was the head coach there, he would recruit out of state guys when there was a lot of talent in the Hartford County area and the southern coast of Connecticut too. There was a lot of in-state talent, and I don't think a lot of UConn coaches really thought of recruiting that area and just kind of let those guys go out of state to either Penn State, Michigan, down south, just to other schools. And when you let that talent get out of state, you kind of will have a program that's not going to be winning a lot of games, which is a bummer. But so,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I hope they get back on track. And growing up, I mean, I'm sure you remember like when they were playing in Fiesta Bowl. I mean, they had some good years growing up with Edsel, and you really hope to see them get back to as good as they once were, you know?
Yeah, definitely. That's the with him back too. Hopefully, this year's a bit of a turnaround. But so you did the Elite 11 camps. You did Chicago and New Jersey. Were you disappointed that you were not brought to the finals, even though you had two pretty solid camps at both New Jersey and Chicago?
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed. I mean, I think I actually threw the ball, if I remember correctly. I think I threw the ball better at the one in Chicago, but I really only had some like Ivy League offers at that time. Even when I went to New Jersey, I didn't have any Power 5 offers either. Gotcha. A lot of it's politics. I mean, I was always one to be like, screw this, like blah, blah, blah. Like it's all just a popularity contest. But I mean, at the end of the day, I didn't have perfect days. And in the position that I was in with not being as highly recruited as I was, you need to have a perfect day to even be considered to and be invited for one of those things. So I do think if I were to have entered one of those things with the offers that I had later on under my belt, I definitely could have been invited to the finals. But that is something that I wish I could have got invited to going back. Yeah.
So is that more of a, like, do they kind of have their guys figured out when they're going into it? Like the guys that have the big time offers, and then there's a few guys that they'll maybe put into the finals if they have a real good day. Is that kind of how it goes?
I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I do know that it's. I mean, the guys are highly recruited for a reason. Like they're talented players, but I do think that there is a bit of a disconnect between ability and I guess the level at which they're recruited at. And obviously, if they want to get the most press out of the event, they want the commits from like the best schools. And most of the time, those are the best kids, though. But you do wish that there were those times that the Elite 11 committee would come out and say, "Hey, this guy is worth a shot at competing in the finals. We should give him a shot." And I think you kind of rarely see that happen, you know.
So in the recruiting process, what kind of made Penn State have that feel that it was going to be home for you, that you wanted to eventually a school you'd want to graduate from down the line and play college football at? Because like you said, you had offers from Florida State, Ole Miss, North Carolina. You had big schools on you, and Penn State's a huge school too, so you ended up picking them.
Yeah, Penn State, my process with them was very unorthodox. I mean, Justin Fields was committed to them for a while, and they weren't even looking for a quarterback in my class. So I had visited Penn State beforehand, like kind of just when I wasn't even getting seriously recruited by them. And then later on, Justin committed to them, so they weren't even looking for a quarterback. And then I went off and did my thing and got the offers from the other schools. And just so happened that Justin ended up changing his commitment to Georgia, so they were looking for a quarterback. But even from that early point on, when I was visiting just to kind of go for a game and check it out, I knew that it was a place that I could definitely see myself at and be happy at, just with the combination of the academics, the athletics, the social life, and the proximity to home. It was a home run. And they brought me over for camp. I played really well. They offered me, and then I committed pretty much on the spot the next day.
Gotcha.
So went into that camp knowing that if they offered me, I was going to commit. And just with the position I was in my recruiting process, kind of what I needed to do, just because it was kind of late. But yeah, it's just happened pretty quickly because I knew that that's where I wanted to end up.
Now at Penn State, it's a school with big traditions. The biggest probably being, if you're a football player, the whiteout. What's that? Just the aura for that, like, game leading up to the game, and then when you walk out, because like the most famous clip is the game against Michigan. Michigan has to burn the timeout on the very first play before they even get a snap off. So, what is the whole whiteout experience like as a player?
It's unreal. I mean, it's pandemonium. You can't hear yourself think. It's the fans are crazy, and it just the fact that they bring that energy throughout the whole game is pretty insane. And just 110,000 people, whatever it is, all yelling as loudly as they can. I mean, it's pretty rare for anybody to experience that. So to be able to not only be in that environment, but to be like on a team that those people are yelling at and yelling for is really, really special. And definitely something I'm going to miss about that place.
Now, so you graduate. What was your degree in when you graduated from Penn State?
Finance.
Fine. Okay. So you graduate. What was the process in choosing Kentucky? Like, were there a lot of schools that were interested in you as a transfer? And kind of like, how did other schools go about recruiting you, and what made Kentucky stand out?
Yeah, I mean, I had options from schools from pretty much every Power 5 conference, and just with why I chose Kentucky, it came down to just the connection that I made with their coaching staff and their belief in me, and being in the SEC, being in a big conference, and being the program that they have and have become. Like, they've had really good teams here in the past few years. I think that I was in a position to come in and really make a change and to help them achieve kind of that next level of success. Because I mean, they haven't run an offense like this in the past, and the quarterback's a big piece of it. They haven't been a team to throw the ball that much, and I'm looking forward to throwing it a lot more in this new offense. And connected well with their coaches, with new OC, with Coach Cohen. Him and I hit it off right away, and I just bought into their vision. And it was strictly a football decision, unlike what it was coming out of high school, where I kind of had to think of factors such as school, social life, closeness to home. It was all about football because that's what kind of my ultimate goal is, and that's what I kind of wanted to attack. And that's just what it ended up being surrounded by. And so far, I think I definitely made the right decision, and I'm just excited to play ball.
Was that kind of a nice thing to have in kind of your second wave of recruiting, that you didn't have to worry about academics
sure.
as much? You could just focus right in on what facilities am I going to like the most, what coaching staff is most invested in me, and pretty much just worry about the game as a whole.
Yeah, with having my degree from Penn State, that should be like pretty much the number one goal, other than to play in the NFL, obviously, for any college football player.
Yep.
It took a lot of stress off of me, and it made it a lot more straightforward. And but it for sure took a lot of stress off of the situation.
Gotcha. So NIL bill passed July 1st. It kind of seemed like a swarm for college athletes to find companies to partner with. Has Levi's reached out at all?
Not yet. And just with all these partnerships going on, it's tough for me just because I'm not expecting anything, because I haven't even played a game here yet. So it's tough for me to expect anything from a local or even national standpoint. My goal right now is just to play good football, and then those opportunities with NIL are going to come from that. So I've done some little things here and there. Might have some little deals coming up, but nothing serious will come until you play serious ball. So, I mean, that's what I got to do, and that's what I got to focus on right now.
Now, are you a Cuts, the apparel athlete as well?
Yeah, I actually DM'd them. I just love their clothing, and they make really good really good shirts, really good clothing, and DM'd them asking if they were doing any sponsorships with college athletes. And they said they're working on creating a program to sponsor guys, and I think I could be a good candidate for them. But just for now, they're helping out guys with that they might want to sponsor with, and giving them like free clothes every month or so. So that's what I'm getting them from. That's what I'm getting from them now. But hopefully, it turns into something where you get an actual sponsorship, which would be great because I really want to focus on partnering with companies that I believe in and that I think are good companies. You don't want to be supporting a cause that you don't necessarily believe in. You don't want it to be a sham. With this, I signed with the marketing agency Playmaker, and they're helping me with partnering me with companies that I have tied values to, or that I am comfortable with partnering with at least. So they've been helpful, and like I said, I don't think anything serious is going to come until I start playing good football. But at least I have them by my side because I don't want to be taking too much of my time away from my main focus of playing football to dealing with all these branding opportunities and stuff. So having that middleman, I think, is important. But it's a learning process for a lot of these kids too, with learning like these companies. Yeah, they're great for you, but they do take a cut of like the profits and stuff of the deals you make. So you just gotta understand like what your situation is and how to act properly.
Gotcha. So do you think that'll become like a distraction for some guys, that they'll worry more about getting sponsorships and representing a brand, and that'll take away from football? Just guys around, like big guys around the nation at Division I schools, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, any sport?
I think that there's definitely some concerns and points to be made about that. I think only time will tell, though. There might be some stories coming out of maybe just locker rooms that might become divided. I don't know, but I think it's just something you got to wait out to see what the results will be. A lot of this is a lot of trial and error, and this is uncharted territory too. So it's hard to really make any predictions about what's going to happen.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're a Connecticut guy. I would kind of imagine in Pennsylvania, how was the pizza? And then same with Kentucky, because I think maybe you can agree. I think Connecticut is the pizza capital, or at least New Haven is the pizza capital of the U.S. So how has that kind of been different for you?
Oh my gosh, Penn State. I mean, there's one place I can think of, Fascia Luna, which is pretty good pizza. It's not really like New Haven style pizza. Other than that, there's like nothing, and it's like it's brutal. I mean, I tell people too that haven't been up into like New England how good New Haven pizza is, and they're like, "Oh, is it as good as like New York pizza, like New Jersey?" I was like, "It's the best." Like people don't get it. Like there's like, I mean, the main three, like Pepe's, Sally's, Modern, like all three of them are better than any other pizza restaurant I've ever had. So Kentucky, I haven't tried a lot of pizza here, but there is awesome restaurants here though. Just really good food, quality food all around. Definitely beats Penn State in that area, and it was definitely a plus of coming here and realizing how good some of these restaurants and local food is.
Now, you kind of already brought up the big three. I was going to ask you to kind of power rank the three of Sally's, Modern, and Frank Pepe's.
I'm a Pepe's guy. I'll always be a Pepe's guy through and through. I think that their white clam pizza, my personal favorite is white shrimp pizza, actually, with you got to add mozzarella. So instead of clam, it's same toppings, but instead of clam, just shrimp, and then you got to fresh moots on there too, and their fresh tomato pie in the summer too is bomb. And then Sally's probably second, and then Modern right behind them. But all of them are
can't miss either. Yeah, you can't miss with any of them.
Yeah.
Now, one question we like to ask a lot of guys that come on, athletes, coaches, former athletes. I'm always curious with guys' pregame routines and also kind of what they listen to. So what would you got 3 songs right before a game, right before you guys come out the tunnel. What are you playing in your headphones?
So I actually I started a thing where our pregame ritual at Penn State was very like routine and like everything was right down to the minute as to like when we were going to change and do things, which I'm sure it is at every university. But I started doing a thing where I'd listen to Kanye's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy from start to finish, from like right when I put on my cleats to go out there for warm-ups, and it would end like as soon as I came back in the locker room ready to put my stuff on. So I timed it up like perfectly. So I mean, there are just so many bangers on that album. Like it's a cool album just to listen to and just to vibe with before a game. So that's what I listen to.
Did you know that that was going to be the album you were going to do it to? Like, did you kind of have to do some trial and error with figuring out what the album was going to be that would end perfectly for you?
I think I just so happened to like open the album one time before I went out there, and I have every song on it added. So like I just clicked the first one and then just kept it on, and then I was like, that was all it, and I realized how it ended like right as I was coming back in. I was like, that timed up really well. That was awesome. I should do that every game now. And that was like sometime 2 years ago. So just been doing that ever since.
What's the song on there that gets you in the best, like in the right mood to play? Because it really, that whole album can change your emotions from like All the Lights, Blame Game, Monster. Like your emotions are all over the place.
I'd say Gorgeous. I mean, that's my favorite song on the album. And it's like it's a cool vibe to it. It's a little more like kind of like hype. But Devil in a New Dress too is pretty cool. But, those are my two favorites probably on the album.
No, and do you have a special, like outside of music, like a special routine you've kind of carried with you from Xavier to Penn State, and now you're going to keep doing it, like a special meal you have, like certain time you'll wake up? Like what is that one thing?
Yeah, nothing like superstitious like that really. I mean, I have some like breathing exercises with just like holding in my breath coming in, and then with the deep exhale, and then pairing that with like visualization exercises, which pretty much are like I'll have a script of like plays that we're going to run in the game, and visualizing what different looks we can get against it, visualizing the play succeeding, visualizing success, visualizing touchdowns, visualizing accurate balls. I think that the exercise of visualization is highly underrated, and I think a lot more people should take advantage of it, because I think it works, and it's really healthy, and it helps you mentally a lot.
So when you were at Penn State, you redshirted your freshman year, and then you come out, play your redshirt freshman season. Your first game actually was at the Idaho game.
Yes.
So you come in a blowout game. What was your feeling in that? Kind of getting your first burn on the field.
I was nervous as hell. I mean, I was going out there like shaking on the first snap, but from after the first snap, I think I got hit like on that drive. I didn't do much on the first drive, and then drove us down to score a few times the next three. And ever since then, it's just like practice, you know. You just go in there and play ball and just react, and as long as you're prepared, you should be able to execute. So that it goes back to preparation and that quote I said earlier. But it's really no big deal, you know. You just go out there and you perform.
Was that the most nervous you were for a game, or was there one that you came into like an Ohio State or a Michigan game that you kind of like you maybe got put in like because of an injury, or that you knew you were going to start? Like, was there a game like that?
No, it's probably definitely the most nervous I've been. Just that kind of first feeling of me running out onto the field for the first time in college. And I'm sure most college guys would say the same thing, just because how big that step up is from high school to college, especially playing in the stadium that we were with all the people that were in there. That was pretty crazy. But yeah, that was definitely the most nervous I've been.
All right, before I let you go, I've seen Instagram, you're posting you're playing a lot of golf too. Have you noticed you've been getting better, or is it just you're out there having fun pretty much? Because like I'm a guy that I suck at golf, so I'm out there just kind of having fun. Or are you getting better?
I'm getting better. I mean, that's why I'm so addicted to it. Every time I go out there, even though my score might not be better, I do feel like I'm getting a better feel for the game, and just being a better golfer all around. And I think I play with some guys that know what they're talking about golf-wise on the team, so they're always there to help me out as well. Got my first actual kind of set of clubs this year, so trying to get my money's worth of that out of them, you know, and play as much as I can when the free time allows it. And there's some beautiful courses here in Lexington, which I've been able to experience, which has been great. But Yeah, I'm definitely getting better. I shoot like low 90s, so like it's not great. It's a mirror. It's a great day when I break 90. But if I can get a handful, 3, 4, 5 pars on a day, I'm really happy with that. And that's what I aim for, and I aim for just getting better and hitting the ball straight. So which is a lot to ask for sometimes, but it's a great game. It's a humbling game. It's a game that you can take with you for your whole life. And really just picked it up this past year and feel like I'm only going to get better with it. So I'm glad I got into it.
Awesome. Will, I appreciate you coming on. Good luck this upcoming season too in the SEC. Looking forward to watching you play.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the My Parents Office podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes we're going to be dropping next week. Thank you.